Go. So hello everyone and welcome back to the newly renamed 100 Proof Whitetails podcast. Just going to check some audios here and then we'll get into the story with the whole situation and all that. YouTube, we're good. So from now on, we're going to be over on the Old Tin Cup one just because I can't rename the channel over there. And hit the go live for Facebook. And let's see. Hopefully we should be good over on Facebook. And we are set on Facebook. So welcome back everybody, and hopefully I don't mess up this name too much. Again, this is all brand new to me. This is going to be episode 1 of 100 Proof Whitetails. So we'll talk about why that is and everything like that, but I just wanted to welcome everybody and apologize for not getting on last week. Again, we'll bring that story right around to explain what was going on with that. We're still going to continue to do the infinity bottle we did with the previous podcast name and all that stuff, so we'll be giving one of those away probably in another 8 or 10 episodes or so. Again, we're on episode 1 right now just because life happens. So last week, I guess we'll start with the good news and life updates. Last week, me and my wife went for a nice trip down to Virginia, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Spent a couple days in Pigeon Forge, kind of a day in Kentucky, and a day in Virginia. Made kind of a nice little round trip out of that. So we were able to get some nice away time. Still out of work with my arm. It's feeling much better. I'm just waiting for my follow-up appointment and my doctor to clear me so I can go back to work. Missing all the guys. I'm probably going to go see them tomorrow. Sit down, hang out with them a little bit because I haven't seen them in a couple weeks now. And I haven't been in work for, a little over a month and a half, almost 2 months now. So that's what we're doing, but we're going to start this off like we do every episode with a whiskey tonight, and I'm going to go with the Russell Single Barrel because my wife was gracious enough to allow me to take a pit stop on our vacation to the Wild Turkey Distillery. Now they're under construction right now, so it wasn't the full tour we got back when we were dating, back when we were there in 2016. But we were there. We got to go to the Improv gift shop and all that stuff. And I actually got a bottle from Russell's that's in storage. So I figured a good one for this episode. I got new Wild Turkey glasses too. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm a big turkey fan. So the Russell's 10 is kind of my go-to daily, but I wanted something a little bit more, I guess, special tonight. So I went with the Russell Single Barrel that I got from Can-Am over there in Newark. So that's what we're drinking tonight. And like always, we're talking deer, we're talking habitat, we're talking wildlife, we're talking anything that you can tie into this podcast format, and anything that you guys might want to see talked about. Drop it into the comment section. These are live Q&A videos. Same premise, same thing I've been doing for the last whatever it's been, 8-10 years with these live Q&A videos. Now we just kind of do it in a podcast form, and got a new name, just because. So I'm going to take a sip, and then we'll dive into why we got a new name and what else I got going on. And then, like I said, feel free to drop in your comments from where you're tuning in from, any questions or stuff you want to talk about tonight. We'd love to hear from you. I really appreciate you guys sticking with us, even with the name change and all that good stuff. So cheers to everybody at home. And thank you all for tuning in. Man, if you can find a Russell Single Barrel, I would definitely go with it. And if you can't find the Single Barrel, the Russell's 10 is a great option for that. So here we are, new name, same format. We're here at the bar, or I'm here at the bar tonight. Nate's got dad duty. Nate's not leaving or anything like that. But I guess we'll just cut to the chase with what's going on and why we're having the issues that we're having and had to rename all that stuff. We got actually served a cease and desist letter. So we are no longer able to use our previous name of the podcast, the one that we had the hoodies for and all that stuff. And thank everybody that supported us with those first 28 episodes or whatever it was. I think we were going to be on episode 29 tonight of that previous name, but yeah, we got served that cease and desist, and apparently we were getting too big for our britches, and was too close to another company's name, and they served us with a letter from their attorney, and so instead of fighting it and tying up money into a net loss of something that's supposed to be fun and enjoyable and helpful for you folks, we just decided to forego all that kind of legal crap with it. Even though we might have had a case to fight it, we decided to just rename it to keep giving you guys, the content that we can give you, and not cause any lapses in that. So I'm in the process of renaming and rebranding everything, so to speak. From now on, YouTube is the only thing I'm having issues with. So YouTube is now going to be all broadcasts on my Old Tin Cup Habitat on the YouTube side of it, on the Old Tin Cup Habitat Restoration and Enhancement YouTube page, just for ease of that. The other one, I'm going to be pulling the content off of it that I can, editing it if I can, and then putting that up on the Old Tin Cup page as well, while I'm still out of work and have time where I can sit down during the day and pull and edit episodes and get them up there, and hopefully figure out how to get some of the old name out of those videos, in a productive way or whatever, and still be able to put that content up for you guys to have. And then I got about 30 days to get the content down that we had, or edited, or whatever you want to call it, but we can't use our previous podcast name or previous live video name anymore. So now we are 100 Proof Whitetails. Did extensive Google searching, trademark searching, all that stuff to make sure that we're not stepping on anybody else's toes, and don't get served another cease and desist letter, because this has been kind of just a really crappy last 10 days, with all this stuff. So, and again, something that we're not doing for, any kind of money or anything like that, but we get shut down just because our name's a little close to a different company. So is what it is, but now it's 100 Proof Whitetails. Wanted to keep that nice logo my sister did up for us. So we'll have the logo, and then 100 Proof Whitetails is what we'll kind of call the show and all that stuff. But yeah, so that sucks. Again, it is what it is. Nothing we can do about it or change it. So yeah, so that's the unfortunate side of what's going on with everything lately. But on the plus side of stuff, weather's starting to turn again, I guess, in a negative way tonight. We had some flurries out there. Ground's all covered up. I was just starting to get a decent pile of sheds. You can see here in front of me. Had some friends come out with me this year, and been able to put some miles on, being out of work too. And we found found some old ones, found some new ones. Nothing with real size to it. We do have one decent old one that I found here on a property in Ontario County. But everything else, if you look at the pile from the other day, they're all little 1 points and 2 points, and there is a match set in there that I found, believe it or not. But I want to thank everybody that's been out and helped me pick up sheds this year. My wife actually found this one. This is actually off of a buck, believe it or not. We called Jim Beam. And this is his side that broke and hung on his head for about a month after he broke it. As you can see, it broke really hard. So he broke this during season, during a fight. And yeah, so that's a shed that she found when she was out with us the other day. Bear's found 2 of these all on his own. Let me see if I can find them. Bear found this one all by himself. Actually, this one was really impressive. He dove into a bush and pulled that one out. And then this is the other one he brought over to me the other day, this little butter scraper. So yeah, and then everything that I've seen this year or spotted, I've sent Bear on it and had him recover it. Let me try to think anything else here. The rest of these, I've picked these up, and then Nate went on spike patrol the other day with us and found these 2 right side spikes. So maybe there's some lefties out there, or maybe that's the match to the one Bear found. And I don't know. It's tough to say. I'll have to look at some pictures and see if we can match up these giant spikes. But Nate found 2 of those. Bear's found 2. I think the pile's up to 14 or 15 this year with sheds. My wife's found this one, like I said, off of Jim Beam. And there's a couple other oldies in here. A couple nice younger guys that I found. these guys are all pretty decent little guys. Again, another 2 years or so, going to be ones we're going to be after and chasing. This one we found the other day, and then this one Bear and me found early on, and then my wife and me found this one together with Bear. And and then a couple from a property over in Ontario County. I picked up another couple sheds on. So been out there, been busy, been trying to really, beat the brush to find some sheds. I got some ground left to cover, and a few bucks that I'm still looking for that I had pictures of that made it through season. So we'll see how that goes. But got a nice little pile here. I think there's like 13 or 14, something like that we've found collectively this year. And then there's one here that Nate found on a property in Ontario County that's not in the pile, so to speak. Couple deadheads, nothing, crazy to report other than that one I found in Ontario County. No deadheads, knock on wood, for the properties that I, have permission to hunt, not just shed hunt. So hopefully that stays true and tracks. We found a couple dead does this year, actually. I think we're at 2 fawns and 2 mature does right now, which isn't that bad. I mean, that's typical. Car hits or whatever, or ones that got hit during season and not recovered. It's tough to say, but yeah. So that's that's good that the numbers are pretty low. We're not finding a bunch of bucks or anything like that, which is good. And a bunch of little young guys. And like I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day, with good property and good management, even when you do harvest those upper age class bucks or some bucks off that property, it's like a vacuum. You do pull a lot more bucks in off surrounding parcels. So that's something I'm looking forward to, is maybe some new guys on the block. There's, again, a couple bucks that we're hoping, we got pictures of after season that survived, and we'll see where that tracks and takes us. A couple of these guys were, after season guys, a couple, maybe 2.5s or really nice 1.5s. Tough to say. So there's a couple that are going to be like 2 or 3 next year, and maybe 3 or 4. We'll see with all that. So, and then Curly is kind of our number 1 buck that we're pretty sure made it through the season. I think he shed out really early though, judging by where he was, and then a big deer showed up with big pedicles exposed. So I think Curly shed really early, and unfortunately I haven't been able to find his sheds yet. There's a couple more little blocks I want to look at before I completely rule out finding Curly's. I found Curly's completely away from where I expected him to be last year. So maybe they're back over where in that one block where I found him last year. So he'll be a really good buck this year. He'll be 5 this year, but he's a super docile buck. He's not a fighter. He's actually turned the other way when I've grunted at him, or when had other bucks in front of me chasing does. He wants nothing to do with confrontation or other bucks or other deer. He's a super loner. Even after season, he's all by himself. The only year that he was together with other bucks was when it was the 3 Stooges, Curly, Larry, and Mo. And now with Larry and Mo both getting harvested this past year, it's just Curly left. So he's a really good-looking buck. He looked really good and healthy coming out of season, and maybe he moved off after season 2, and I never got a picture of him after that. So I had pictures of him the day after season, so I got high hopes that he made it. And got a couple other youngins over there, and I heard there's a few other decent ones in the neighborhood that I wasn't maybe getting pictures of, so we'll see if they slot in with me and my dad opening up 4 holes. A couple of neighbors taking bucks this year, so maybe we're going to get some newbies on the block, so to speak, chase this year, and that's what I'm looking forward to with it. So let me check the video lines over on the Bullhorn app. Nothing over there. Nothing on the YouTube and Facebook. My wife comments in, says cheers to the new. Yeah, so we're going with a new name now, with all the legal BS that we've been dealing with. So we decided to just switch it over to 100 Proof Whitetails is the name of it, trying to keep that theme of a little bit of whiskey, or with the 100 Proof opens up to other things like rum and stuff like that. I actually got a rum over here that I want Nate to try, that I picked up to try with him one of these nights. So next time he comes down, we might open that bottle of Hit and Run rum which we might see if he comes down next week because it'll be the first week of baseball. That starts um, tomorrow. I'm super excited. The Yankees look good. I'm really excited about that. I love baseball. I grew up playing baseball. Played in high school and wasn't going to play in college until I found the FLCC Woodsman's team and all that stuff. Um, so yeah, and the Woodsman's team just kind of fit me better than baseball at that point, and it was more like-minded people and all that stuff. So definitely enjoyed that and enjoyed winning a couple titles with Matt and Derek and Trevor and all them guys that we won those two back-to-back titles with. Couldn't ask for anything better for a couple Northeast championships. And they are doing a spring meet this year at the college as well. I don't know if I'll be down at it. I want to say it's I had the date because I was just talking to my old coach the other day. May 6th is the um, event at Finger Lakes College. So if you want to come down and check out an event at FLCC May 6th, they'll be doing a spring competition there. FLCC, Paul Smith, and Alfred are just going to be the only ones there, I believe. So that's something to do, but got to give the Woodsman's team a shout out and all those guys. And I know everybody's coming into town for my birthday in July too. So I look forward to seeing Derek. He's flying in for that, and Matt coming down, all that good stuff. So, and we got a couple bottles up here that, if I don't get too thirsty, are going to be cracked that night. Hopefully I don't dig into them before that. So, Bo Hunt comments in, says, what do you think about Kansas banning trail cameras in the state land or on state land? So with the trail cam ban, I heard about that. It hasn't been anything for New York yet that I'm aware of. I think it's banning just on state land is what Bo's comment says. I haven't looked into it a lot. I don't hunt Kansas. I actually haven't hunted whitetails in another state, to be honest. So with the state land thing, I guess to my understanding, they were thinking it was putting more stress and pressure on the wildlife, particularly the whitetails and whatnot. I almost don't see a justification for it in that sense. In my personal opinion, I think it would be more of a bigger issue in some place with heavier winter severities, or some of these places that were, wallows or whatever that have 30 trail cameras on them. I've talked to my buddy Derek who lives out in Idaho, and if you get on some of those wallows out there in some of those western states, you could have 15, 20, 30 trail cameras set up on one water hole, up in the mountains. So, that's the crazy thing about it. But yeah, I don't agree with it. Again, if you hunt Kansas and hunt state land, or I know they have different types of property out there, whether it's like state land or federal lands. They have some mixes of the two. In Kansas, I believe. I don't think it's something that needed to happen. I know Kansas, I think, is still a pro baiting state. I think that would do more for limiting deer pressure and people out in the woods feeding deer constantly and stuff like that. And I think it's going to make more pressure by people going out in the woods and scouting those deer rather than just letting a camera soak and set and forget it. That's my 2 cents on it. I think you're way less intrusive, going in, setting a camera up and then letting it soak for several months at a time rather than going in there, a couple weekends, here, there, 3-4 weekends, because you don't have that scouting data of your cameras. You got to go in there and ground truth it. You got to find the trails, find the scrapes, find the rubs, and see if those spots are what you're looking for your setups. So I don't think it was a great thing. I think it's going to cost people that buy cameras in those states, retailers, especially in those states, I think are going to suffer from it. When you're talking cameras are, $100 a pop or so now. That's a good chunk of money for somebody to be missing out on. And you're probably talking hundreds and thousands of them across the state. So it's a pretty significant margin, I think, that's going to, affect these sporting good retailers and people that sell trail cameras. So yeah, I don't agree with the Kansas ban, but again, if you hunt Kansas and hunt public land in Kansas or state land in Kansas, you're going to have to roll with it, unfortunately. And we'll see if they do that with New York. I don't believe that's the case. I know in certain applications, like Montezuma lands, you can't have cameras on. I believe that's because that's a federal land, if I'm not mistaken. So always check with, if to the best of your ability, check with that. Or if you have a question, call your local biologist, call your local game manager if it's like Montezuma for, the wetland properties or something like that. And just see what the situation is. I know most of our viewers in New York are here, but like I said, with this name change cease and desist letter, we had people obviously tuning in from other states because we got served that from a company that's based in a completely different state than us. So whatever state you're hunting in, make sure you keep up to date on your regs. Make sure you get your regulations book when you get your license every year to make sure that you're following the laws to the best of your ability. Steve Bogart comments in, says, "What did I miss?" Oh, not much, Steve. Just a couple things. Me and my wife went on vacation. Had a little road trip down to Tennessee and Indiana and Kentucky. I brought back some, or not Indiana, sorry, Virginia, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Didn't make it over to Indiana. But I got some Virginia whiskey, Brady's. Actually, I'm wearing one of Brady's distillery shirts. So it may contain bourbon. I thought that was pretty cool. I ended up picking up their Blue Label bourbon that they got. I tried a bunch of them there, and that was my favorite one. And basically everywhere we tasted, we ended up picking up something that we liked. Either I liked or my wife liked. We found a few things that she liked too, and able to find a couple Tennessee bourbons and Tennessee whiskeys we both liked and enjoyed. And unfortunately for my buddy Derek, because he hates like the pickles and the pickleback stuff that we used to do in college and all that good stuff, we got some, I think they're from Old Smoky. We got whiskey pickles that are soaked in moonshine that I got just to give Derek a little agitation for my birthday. So they're a jar of pickles that are soaked in moonshine. You got some Old Smoky moonshine pickles, and we'll be cracking these out for my birthday. Just because I know how much Derek hates having those pickleback shots and all that stuff. So we had a whole slew of stuff across the bar. Got some stuff from different wineries down there. Tried some Muscadine wine for the first time, which is a grape that grows exclusively below the Mason-Dixon. So that was cool to try some different wines and different grapes that we don't get up here in the Finger Lakes. So it was a good time. Bunch of stuff. We got to go to Wild Turkey and a couple other places in Pigeon Forge is where we spent most of our time, in Gatlinburg, that area. So we had a good time and found some stuff I liked, found some stuff she liked, and a couple bottles that you can't find in New York because of distribution that I've been looking for. We think, just looking down, Early Times Bottled and Bond. I was able to find that. I haven't seen that in New York, at least in my local stores. And that's one I hear a lot about. I have Cooper's Craft 100 that I picked up. I have a Remus, George Remus Cast Strength, that is not in New York that I know of. Never seen it, any of the Remus products. So I got one of those. Like I said, I got the Brady's and some Tennessee Shine Co. A couple of those. Picked up a couple of gifts, stuff like that. So it was a good trip all around. And again, got to go to Wild Turkey. Didn't get to see Jimmy Russell there this time. Again, they got that place under construction right now and got the temporary gift shop. But my wife was gracious enough to let me buy my first Glencairns. These are Wild Turkey Glencairns, and that's what I'm drinking tonight, is a Russell single barrel from a store up here. This is one from K&M Discount Liquors over there in Newark that we talk about all the time. But yeah, definitely a great trip, and looking forward to it. And a new bar mat runner too, right here, came from Wild Turkey. Replaced my other one that was getting a little beat up, so I got two Wild Turkey bar runners now. But yeah, Steve says sick. It's great when the missus finds something too. Sounds like nice cuisine. Yeah, no, it was a great trip, and the food was good down there. We went to Dolly Parton's Stampede. It's like a dinner show where they serve you a 4-course Southern dinner, fried chicken, potatoes, corn, gravy, and cornbread for dessert. And it was great. Our what was it? No, it was apple. It was like apple turnover for dessert. With a little piece of, I think there was a little piece of cornbread with it too. So we went to the Dolly Parton Stampede show, which is cool. Got to see some horse trick riding and stuff like that. And that's something that she saw once upon a time when she was a little girl back in Florida, and she wanted to go see it in Pigeon Forge, and it was right down the road. So would definitely recommend that area to anybody that's going down there. We did a bunch of the scenic byways and some short walks, hikes, whatever you want to call them, to take some nice photos and stuff like that. And just made it a nice trip. Played some mini golf. That's something me and my wife have done since we've been together. We do that every time we're on vacation, or when we were on our honeymoon, we did mini golf. That's kind of our thing that we do. We go play some mini golf. Neither of us are very good at it, but it's always a good time. So Steve says the Glencairn glasses are nice. Can't wait to hear your reviews of those. Glad my guys had time. Glad you guys had a great time, my friend. Yeah, Steve, absolutely. Yeah, so we actually had to switch the name of the podcast. If you missed that first part of the show, Steve, we got served a cease and desist order for the name that we were using before. So now the show is 100 Proof Whitetails for everybody else tuning in, checking it out now. And that's just because we don't make any money with this. So it was easier for us to change the name than it was to try to go to court and fight this or whatever way it was going to go, with that. So we changed the name, kept the logo, because the logo, obviously, they don't own anything like that. But we had to switch the name. So now it's 100 Proof Whitetails. And so for the last week, 10 days, I've been constantly searching, to make sure that there's no other conflicts of names. I've searched on Instagram, TikTok, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I've looked all across all the platforms that I can think of, and Google searched extensively and gone multiple lists deep and pages deep in the search bar to, try to make sure that's not taken. And it was actually an idea my dad had. We just kind of flopped it. His was Whitetails at 100 Proof. I just thought 100 Proof Whitetails flowed better going forward with it. So unfortunately, it is what it is. But, we're going to keep doing these live Q&As because everybody enjoys them. Everybody loves it when we have other guests on, like Jesse, Connor. Everybody gave us great feedback when we had people on. Nate, always when he's on with me. He's kind of my right-hand man with this, and I wanted to make sure before we changed the name that we had one that we both liked too, because he's been with me since the beginning of this as well. And Ryan on talking about the hound hunting and stuff like that. Keith's been on before. Jake's been on before. So, yeah. So, I don't know if I'll lose all my Fresh Crack videos that I did on that other show. But we're going to, try to tie that back into this new channel. I can't rename my YouTube channel. So, everything on YouTube now is going to be on the Old Tin Cup page. So, if you're watching this on Facebook and you want to watch on YouTube some other time, it's on the Old Tin Cup Habitat Restoration and Enhancement Facebook page. Look in the videos. I'll have a whole playlist for this podcast. This is going to be, again, episode 1 of the 100 Proof Whitetails going forward with it. So, and now I have to find out, what I got to do or what I can do with these last 20 hoodies that I got with the previous name on it. My dad said just take a Sharpie and cross it off and write 100 Proof Whitetails on it after you cross off the old name. And I was like, yeah, so that'd be pretty comical for sure. So, so we do have a few hoodies still available. Again, I got to figure out if I can get the name off of them or cross it out or how I would do that. Maybe I'll talk to my wife who does cricket stuff and try to figure it out. Maybe a way to modify them up or, edit them up or whatever. So Steve says, heard that. That's crazy. It's not about the name anyway. It's about the content. I think the way to go with it is just take a Sharpie or maybe like some of that whiteout tape and just white it out, or maybe just a piece of Scotch tape and just write 100 Proof Whitetails on it and hand it to people. Maybe that's what we do. But apparently we were getting big enough to reach out to other states because, like I said, they were from one of the Carolinas where we got served the cease and desist from. So unfortunately, it is what it is. But so yeah, so that's it. Other than that, um, I literally got back from vacation, much to my wife's dismay. Went right back out on the road and did a property visit. Um, so I am doing property visits. I have a few left scheduled, and then a few that I'm fitting in, here and there as I go. So I'm trying to get everything I can scheduled with the property visits and the layouts and all that stuff this year. So that's keeping me plenty busy. Um, and then what's it? Thursday, this coming Thursday, if the weather holds and looks good, I'll be going down to the Wellsville, Upper Genesee National Deer Association seminar. I'll be driving down there. I don't know if I'm going to stay overnight or what I'm going to do yet. But going down to their seminar, they got Steve Shirk from Shirk's Guide Service down there and the Pert Near guys presenting seminars for their seminar series. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Seeing the Pert Near guys. I've never met Steve Shirk before, so maybe I'll get to hang out with him and have a beer and stuff like that or whatnot down there at the gun club where it's at. But that's next Thursday. I believe that's the 6th. So yeah, a lot of stuff coming up the next couple of days. I got family coming up into town this weekend for get-togethers and stuff like that. So just a good time. The weather's breaking. As I say that, it's snowing out there right now. But hopefully the snow goes away. I can get a few more blocks of timber covered for sheds. And I would like to add to the pile. Typically, when you say you got 15 sheds, it's a little bit more of a pile than this. But when you got, almost a dozen of them that are 1 points and 2 points, it doesn't make a pile very quick, unfortunately. But there's a few good ones mixed in there. I just haven't found. Curly is the main one I'm looking for. And if I don't find them, I don't find them. Again, maybe I got to look back in that block where I found them last year, and that's where I'll find them this year. It's tough to say. So we'll see. That section where I found curly sheds last year gets really thick with hogweed early, and we were in there for a quick sweep. That's where my wife found this old one, actually, the other day. And the hogweed was up like crazy already. The honeysuckle was already popping like crazy. So a couple of my spots, I'm not going to be able to get in there to shut hunt them much anymore coming up soon, especially if we keep having some of these sunny days. That hogweed just seems like it comes up through the snow every year. This one, actually, the funny story with this, we were actually finishing up. Nate was on the phone. I think he was on the phone with his dad. He was a couple rows away from us. We were finishing the pass, getting ready to wrap it up and, get bear under control so we could get him in the car and collared up and put him on the leash and stuff like that. And Hannah looks down and she's like, right there. And literally 5 feet away from us, this shed sitting there with his brow tine sticking up, this sticking up, and the little bit of the base sticking up. We were right on top of it. And again, it makes you think how many, we did find some really small ones, but how many do you walk by, every year? I think we walk by at least the same amount that we pick up, I would say. I think there was a study that they did at a research facility, Penn. They were, saying that they only found 35% in a 400, I think it was a 400-acre enclosure. They only found like 36, I think, percent of the antlers off the bucks in that study pen. So who knows, what we're finding compared to what's out there. I figure we walk past at least everyone we pick up. We at least walk past one or two is what I figure. So I think with 13 or 14 this year, I think we're doing pretty good. Again, no doozies. I mean, this one is the best one I've found this year. This is a pretty good one. That's an oldie but a goodie. This one was at a client piece of property in Ontario County. Nice shed, one that, like I said, I'm just waiting to meet up with him so I can get it to him. I got the little shed tag down here from Extreme Element Outdoors. He sent me a bunch of those, and that's what I got them marked up with so I can keep them separate. But that's my best one I found this year. It's a pretty good side off of a nice 8-point, but a few years old. That one was buried in leaves too, just the tine sticking up. So yeah. My mom comments in, says the old man is watching. Hey Dad, hey Mom, thanks for tuning into the first episode here of 100 Proof Whitetails. Like I said, I gotta thank my dad for the name of the name idea. It's just we kind of reversed it for easier flow, a little bit shorter, more compact, and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, so thanks Dad for the name suggestion and putting your brain cells together on it and helping me come up with a new name. I really appreciate it. Um, Steve says, "What do you do with them? Just decor?" I have a whole basket. The fresh ones, I typically peel off the hair and the wax ring. Let me see. This one's got a pretty good one. This one was pretty early, so they got a hair and a wax ring on there, and I'll peel that off, and that's what I use to train my dog to find them. And two of these he found all by himself this year. This one actually he brought over to me, and this one me and Nate actually watched him jump into a mix of rosebush and bush honeysuckle, and all of a sudden he comes hauling this out of that bush, like jumped headfirst into it, almost full speed, comes out with this, and I'm like, how the heck did he find this old shed, in that bush? So that's what I do with the fresh ones. I peel the wax ring and the hair and stuff off of them, and then put that on sheds that I'm training him with and running tests with out in the yard, stuff like that, or at the property where I'm running him. He does pretty good with that. And then again, he's really good at picking up visually. All these other ones that I've ran him on, he's ran right over to them. So I use them for training, and then I use them for just keeping track of specific deer year to year. There's some deer, most of the deer down here that I've killed the last what is it, 10, 11 that I've killed. Just about every one of them, I think, short of the three on my grandmother's, I think every one of them, and then Bud didn't have them. So I think four of the 11 or so bucks that I've killed, I didn't have a shed to. The rest of them I have a shed to, or now multiple years of sheds with. St. Patrick, I had 2 years of matching sheds with him. And it's following these deer year to year. It's something to get out there in the springtime, do my springtime scouting, look at habitat projects that I need to do, maybe stand locations I'm going to move, get some friends out there, get the dog, my wife, a couple buddies, and we'll go, put some miles on and, get some good exercise and pick up some antlers. And it's not like walking around a track. I try to give people fair warning when they come out with me that our ground's pretty thick and nasty. You're going to get tore up by pricker bushes. You're going to be crawling maybe in some spots, or maybe taking a long way around when we're walking our kind of transect lines that we do with the property to kind of grit it up when we lay it out to shed hunt it. But that's how you got to cover it to get the most antlers. And again, as you can see, we still miss antlers every year. This piece I'd never shed hunted before, where I found the big guys. So, but yeah. And this one was an old one too. This one was right in one of our food plots, right on the edge of one of our food plots in the goldenrod. And again, this could have dropped after I walked that section too. So, but right now I think all the bucks that I've had on camera have dropped. So, everything that I've seen has just pedicles, or there was one spike the other day with just one spike. So that's why we do it. We do it for the inventory, the stories, the history with those specific deer, obviously training the dog now to do it, and just the camaraderie and all that stuff that goes along with it too. So yeah, Steve says nothing better than just trekking the great outdoors. Yeah, I agree. It gives me a good chance to get out there. And like I said, there's some spots that I'll get into my property, or get into a piece of property that I'm shed hunting and be like, wow, this has really changed in the last, 5 years. It's changed a lot with the way, the trees are growing. Or, one spot we were in this past weekend, I was like, wow, the honeysuckle has just exploded in here over the last couple of years. Or the deer sign's really crazy in here this year compared to, years prior. So, that's all cool stuff and stuff to catalog and get all that good information with too. So, But yeah, checking on the lines. I'm all solo tonight, so I'm checking this out. Bullhorn, nothing going over on the bullhorn side of stuff. Uh, Over on the YouTube, we're all flat, and then conversation here on the Facebook, we're all caught up with everything going on. So yeah. Other than that, again, I had a couple projects that I wanted to maybe try to tackle. Some some access trail stuff I wanted to work on and cut in this year, but I'm waiting for the green light from the doctor to see when I can start running a saw, or if I can start running a saw here. I think my follow up's on the 11th of April. So just trying to figure that out to do a couple habitat projects and stuff like that. I was going to trim some fruit trees. I think I'm going to let them push another year before I do some trimming, just because I was out feeding the horses this morning and the buds on all my trees are swelled right up. So um, I think I might have missed the window with that. Now that my arm's finally getting good enough, or maybe I could run a pair of like hand clippers or something, maybe for some of these smaller trees. I might have missed my pruning window with some of them. So we'll see. I might have to just go out and check on them or whatnot. But yeah, like I said, the next couple of days is really just getting together with friends and family, hanging out. I do have a property visit on Friday. Um, that's a small property, so that won't take too long. And then dinner with my folks tomorrow, and my sister and my wife. We're all going to be up at my parents' tomorrow for that, and Friday the visit, and then Saturday I got family coming in from out of town. So just a lot of good time catching up with family coming up over the next couple of days. So maybe I'll get out and do a couple more miles. I'd have to add it up, but I usually get between 4 to 7 miles a trip when I'm out there. Usually, I'm usually walking about 1.25 miles per hour. Roughly is about what I figure with my tracker and all that stuff with my data. So I'm out there at a pretty good clip, scouting and buzzing through the woods and looking for antlers, and that's how I've come up with quite a few of them. And my dog's real happy. He's got antlers to last him a lifetime. And like I said, maybe these are going to be future bucks we talk about in future stories. Maybe this will be Weller, and maybe that one will be stag, or who knows what we'll what we'll name bucks going forward. I know last year we did kind of the crafty bar bucks, or the crafty bar bucks, the Phelps bar bucks, like Crafty, Dono, Smoking Tails, Clipper, Halfway. We had a bunch of those names and stuff like that. My dad ended up killing Halfway, and then Smokey, who's named after Smoking Tails, got shot by a neighbor. So I'm pretty sure that that Clipper made it through, Crafty made it through, and I'm pretty sure Dono made it through as well. None of these sheds are from those bucks, but again, I still have a couple blocks I got to look at. So we'll see how it goes, and I'm looking forward to a couple of those up and comer bucks. They might be hit listers next year. We'll see how it all shakes out, and if they stick around, and then hopefully Curly's around, because like I said, that's kind of the main guy that I'm after, so to speak, this upcoming year. So, but no, other than that, I was going to order some trees this year, but I decided not to. Didn't really have it in the budget line this year. Did my taxes the other day, or put my tax paperwork together, and it just seems the more and more I do this, the more and more it's kind of net losses across the board, even with the consulting and the real estate side. Like technically this year for real estate, I made less money than I spent on dues and advertising and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of unfortunate for some of it, but it is stuff that I love and do enjoy doing. And the consulting stuff, between what New York State takes for taxes, it's hard to make any money on property visits and stuff like that. So but I'm still plugging away at it. I've had to adjust my pricing the last couple of years to just try to be competitive with competition pricing, and value my service with the family and everything else I got going on. So it's up there more than obviously when I started, but I think that the more that I've done this, the more I offer a better product, the more I offer a better service, and the more properties I've seen, the more situations I've seen, all that stuff, I think helps me always bring a better product to the table. So that's why I'm always, usually adjusting my pricing somewhat every year. It's usually not big increases by any means. And then after, being an independent contractor kind of stuff with that, self-employed, good old New York State takes like 40% of what I'm, charging or whatever. So um, that's kind of the crappy thing is I wish it wasn't, I wish I could keep the cost down where I wasn't paying the tax in on it. Um, just to offer it to folks to cheaper, but by the time you take money out of it and a full day of your time, at minimum for a property, let alone if it's 200 acres or better, you're going to probably be there 2 days to lay it out and do it right and cover it. Um, it's really really hard to do that for just a couple $100. It's tough to justify the time, and plus offering the map with it, a nice completed one from Huntera Maps, a full write up, and where to go with your property, the game plan, different areas of improvement, different sections on how to improve it, what to improve on it, the stand locations we mark and ribbon throughout the day if we're doing some of that stuff with it. All that stuff just kind of comes together, and it makes a fun and enjoyable day. And I love sitting down and trying to figure out that puzzle. But that Wellsville visit the other day, I got there right around, I think it was 9 o'clock. And by the time I got done typing the plan up in their cabin that night, it was 10:45. So it was a full day. By the time I got the map drawn up, everything typed up for them, everything like that, it was a full on 12, 13, 14 hour day. And and that's how you can bring the best to it. You don't take it home and sit on it for a week or sit on it for a month and then give it back to them. You got to get it while it's fresh in your head. I'm taking notes throughout the day. I'm marking up the map as I go throughout the day. All that stuff to just keep that right fresh on my phone or on my hand drawn map or whatever way I'm doing it. Depends on cell service a lot of that time. But writing up specific areas, putting ribbon in and then marking the ribbon accordingly. So then that transfers onto the map. And then just, answering their questions, and then specific stuff they want to know more about. That stuff that's going to go more in depth in the write up or more topic specific in the write up. And then I kind of do a rolling sheet, I call it, for clients, because some of it's similar stuff. And then other stuff, I literally go through the different sections and go through the map, and I'll sit down and I'll, plug in what fits and take out what doesn't fit, and, just keep rolling that on with every client. And then that way I'm not missing, key specific stuff like food plot planting. That's in every one of my, my write-ups. That never gets skipped over. But if we're talking about specific plantings and specific fields, we're going to put that into those sections. If we're talking about different blends and different varietals for different seasons, that's going to be put in there as well. Different TSI attacks, what species to look for, what species did we find during the visit that are beneficial to your property, what species did we find that aren't beneficial to your property during that visit. All that stuff, and kind of finding that balance and finding that way that flows for that. And I feel like when I did the longer pages and the longer projects, it just kind of got lost in communication and kind of got buried in the information, and people weren't absorbing it and weren't putting it to use. They want to go to the ribbon or go to the point on the map and say, okay, Ben said we gotta do beach treatment. We gotta do we're gonna spray it foliarly, or we're gonna hack and squirt, or girdle and spray, or whatever for that type of kill. Or we're gonna go in there and we're going to just do some TSI cutting and cut some of the non-nice form figured form trees, stuff that's got messed up canopies, scars on the sides, really multi-trunked stuff, a lot of that stuff, and just get some cover on the ground, get some structure on the ground, get some sunlight down to the forest floor. Um, and again, looking at that to make sure there's not going to be an explosion of invasives, and not taking too much canopy at once. Starting with like 30-40%, and then getting a little bit more open once you see what's going to come up on the forest floor. But yeah, a lot of times don't go with a big wide open canopy opening, because you can blow up other species you don't want to blow up, namely invasives, a lot of times. And if you can get those snuffed out before you do any improvements, that's always a plus. With your with your TSI work, or canopy reduction, whatever you want to call it, on a piece of property in a project area. And it's going to be easier for you to maintain that area going forward if you get the invasives or the non-desirables out of there to begin with. You're just going to be saving yourself, more steps going forward with it. So, but yeah, that's kind of the deal with it. Like I said, I got a few more I got to get to this year. I think I got at least another 5. I think that I got scheduled right now. I am doing a few more. Turkey season, I typically take off, but I might, fit you in if you give me a turkey invite too. Wink, wink, hint, hint. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see if I end up going out to Connecticut this year for a follow-up. I know my client out there has talked about having me back out to Connecticut. That's always a good time. See some different country, see some colonial kind of ground, I call it. Kind of undisturbed, rolly, bluffy hillside stuff was really cool out there in Kentucky, Connecticut, where he is, up in the hills there of Connecticut. That's a cool place. Look forward to getting back out there at some point with those guys. There was a guy in PA. We'll see if that gets worked out. That was going to be an early summer trip. So that's going to be after turkey season. And then a few more localies here. Got to go back Wellsville area again for another visit. And then I'll have a couple here, Wayne County, Ontario County. Trying to think the last one, Yates County, I think. So yeah, so staying busy with it, definitely. And it just seems like I'll turn around, get back, and just get caught up with it, and somebody else will reach back out to me about one that reached out to me a couple years ago or whatever it might be, and just time to get them scheduled. So, but yeah, enough of me talking about stuff. What's everybody else got going on for topics? What's something you want to hear, dove into a little bit? We're gonna go for another 8 or 10 minutes or so. I'm gonna try to keep these new episodes to right around an hour. That way, if I got to go back through and do any editing on them, I can do that pretty easily, and don't gotta cut away 2 hours to sit down and do it. Even though I do enjoy those sessions with the guys and down here, and the topics when they're flowing, but I like to keep them under an hour. Let enough people tune in, drop in for a little bit, say hi, drop in a couple questions, and join the conversation for a bit. And yeah, me and Nate got a couple things planned. Want to definitely reach out to Ethan and Taylor. They were going to come on back in, I think, January. And then they had a family emergency come up, and that got pushed off. So I'd like to definitely get back together with those guys. I'd like to have Mike Vienna back on following the Trout Derby this weekend. So that's another thing coming up local. The Trout Derby will be this weekend with the Upstate New York Sportsmen's. They run that, so that's a really good event. Maybe I'll just give all the Whitetails and Whiskey podcast hoodies to the kids or whatever, the old hoodies with the old name and logo, and that way I can give the kids some hoodies to keep warm on that day. And then but yeah, Deb and Gerald Kiddo tuning in, says, hey Ben, nothing to contribute but awesome antlers. Thank you. Yeah, we found a few this year. These have been a couple places over Ontario County. Was a couple of them. I think three of them. Yeah, 3 of them were over there. And then we found 10 or 11 over on Mom and Dad's piece this year. So we're doing pretty good. A couple old ones, and not with very much size to a lot of them. I mean, even got quite a few butter scrapers. This might be the year of the spikes. Nate found two of these the other day. Bear found a spike, and then I found these barely not a spike. This match set, which I just happened to luck onto this. As thick as our ground is, I was walking through this big gnarly berry patch, and I came up on an open area about the size of a truck hood, and this little match set was sitting there just plop plop right side by side. So again, barely legal, barely over spikes, so to speak. But again, we don't have that many older bucks because we were blessed to have a good year. Taking both of our bucks. A couple of the neighbors killed some nice bucks too. So we got a lot of young guys walking around, and that's what I've heard from a lot of neighbors and local friends and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of young bucks around, which is good that there's a lot of good stock, and we can keep that age triangle kind of progressing every year. As we take off some of the higher aged bucks, and and we work hard at it to put ourselves in those positions to get those older bucks, and to hunt it right, hunt it smart, and that's the strategies and stuff that we talk about on this show. And you guys bring the topics in and ask the questions, and we'll answer them for you the best we can. And like I said, hopefully Nate's back on with me next week, and we can get some other guests back in, maybe some new guests, a couple other things. I finalized my dealer thing with Seedway this year, so I will be getting seed again to do my Nebraska blends for folks. So if you want to learn more about that, or ordered last year or missed out on it last year because I sold out, get a hold of me soon and early. I got to get a hold of Mason this week. Hopefully tomorrow I can get a hold of him, being the end of the week. He's typically a little bit less busy end of the week. I'll get a hold of him and see what delivery date estimation is for that. Because I'd like to get that stuff out definitely by May. I'd like to be able to get it into Heritage says they want to carry it for me, and then we'll do our sales here at the house and local pickups at mom and dad's as well, if I can, to keep it, going forward with it, all that stuff. So the other cool things, they said that they can custom mix it for me. I have to figure out if there's any additional cost with that, or if I'm going to still be mixing it up in my garage. We'll see. So, but yeah, so the seed thing's going good. And then playing around this year with a couple clover blends and those kind of varietals, and then figuring out cereal grain seed. That's another thing I got to talk to Mason about, is the pricing for cereal grain stuff. So if people want to get a hold of me to pick up some rye or wheat or whatever it might be, to mix into your plots, to save your plots, or whatever it might be, hopefully I'll be able to provide that as well. So, but definitely the Nebraska blend is going to be back on the table this year. And maybe we'll call it the 100 proof blend, kind of keep it with the same theme as the podcast and all that stuff. Devin Drill commented back in and said, also love to see your vacation haul. Yeah, that was, we touched on that earlier in the show, but yeah, that was nice. Definitely got some good stuff on vacation, some stuff you can't find in New York. Some small distillery stuff from that one in Virginia that we went to, Brady's. I'm wearing their shirt tonight, actually, because I'm doing laundry from vacation, and this wasn't a dirty shirt yet. So, yeah, and then went down to Wild Turkey. That's probably my favorite distillery, and that's what I'm drinking tonight is Wild Turkey single barrel that I got. Again, this was a local one I picked up from K&M in Newark. Giving them another shout tonight. So, but yeah, but that's about it, guys. I want to thank everyone for tuning into this, and everybody that's joined the conversation, all that good stuff. Again, for the future of this, we'll be doing everything through the Old Tin Cup Habitat Restoration Enhancement YouTube page. And that's where we'll be streaming it from now on, because I can't change the name of the YouTube channel, and I don't want to relaunch another one. And my wife said, why don't you just keep it on your Old Tin Cup one and make it its own playlist? They said, yeah, that's probably the best idea. So that's what we're doing with the YouTube side of the broadcast or whatever. It'll be also up there to watch. If you didn't get all this, didn't see the whole episode, and you want to watch it again, you can watch it over there. We'll always be doing them streamed additionally on Facebook here for you guys to check out and tune into the conversation with. And then again, always on the Bullhorn app. And we're talking about having a call-in guest, hopefully in the next couple weeks to call in on the Bullhorn side of stuff to join in the conversation as well with us. So I want to thank everyone for joining in, the continued support from the first podcast that we did, before we had to change the name and all that, drama that went along with that. So now we're beginning fresh. We're going right in. 100 Proof Whitetails is the new name of the podcast and the live Q&A show. So well, thank everyone for tuning in. I really do appreciate this, so much from everybody, all the support. The people that I reached out to with the name ideas, that we were kind of tossing around out there, that gave me the feedback. My dad for coming up with the name, the new name, to keep us out of the courtroom, so to speak, I guess. And but yeah, it's all thanks to you guys. This is why I do it. I do it for helping out folks and trying to answer your questions and topics and stuff that you guys want to hear talked about, and maybe some comic relief from other guests on the show or us when we're laughing and making fun of each other, whatever it might be, and just having a good time. That's all this is. It's not about trying to make money, get rich or anything. It's just a bunch of guys sitting around having a drink or two and shooting the bull and having conversations like you folks at home. So thanks everyone for tuning in to episode 1 of the 100 Proof Whitetails podcast live Q&A. We'll catch you all next week down here at the bar or wherever we're at. Maybe we'll go back to the shed at Nate's for episode 2. Tough to say, but yeah, again, check us out. The Facebook page is been changed over already, and then the YouTube, like I said, is all going over to the Old Tin Cup going forward. So thank you guys. Ben Williams here from 100 Proof Whitetails, and I'll catch you all next time at the show, guys.